All right, welcome back. Whitlock and Wiley, joined now by Brian Banks, whose story has inspired a new feature film. Brian, for those that don't know, you spent 5 years in prison for a rape that you did not commit. You were falsely accused. You were headed to USC, perhaps on a football scholarship, and perhaps even to the NFL.
Yeah.
I reread your story this morning. I remember it when it first came to light, but I reread it this morning. And I was so emotional just reading the facts of the case. And the first thing I thought was like, how are you not consumed by bitterness having gone through that level of injustice?
Yeah, I've been there. You know, I lived it. You know, people that hear my story, they hear it for the first time and, you know, you're enraged. This is something that I've been dealing with for years now. And throughout those years, you get to a point in time where you just don't want to be angry anymore. You don't want to be upset. You want to find some form of a closure. And once I realized that having this negative energy and feeling this way and living that way was only adding to the destruction of me, I had to make a change for myself.
That sounds exactly like years ago I interviewed Hurricane Reuben Carter.
Yeah, man.
Did you know his story? Did that inspire you in any way?
Yeah, I actually saw that movie while I was incarcerated. It was crazy just to hear his story, what he went through for so long. And then just like me, received some help from people who just believed in him, believed in his story. And then what he's done since then, the advocacy for furthering the awareness of that fight against wrongful conviction. I feel like in some ways I'm like trying to be on the same steps as him.
Now, how do you deal with the reality that your accuser, false allegations, but never going to suffer any repercussions?
You know what, that used to be a thought of mine, but I think where I am now is just, no one deserves that much power of your life to where you can't, you know, move past a situation or you're still stuck in the past knowing that there's so much for you in the future. You know, there's a statute of limitation of 8 years where after 8 years you can't go after somebody for perjury. So if that is what the law is, then I can only go as far as I can go as far as, you know, making something happen. But honestly, I really don't give too much thought about that.
What about the emotional what-ifs? I'm going to be real with you, man. Reading your story and hearing about you, you played with some guys that I've actually played against.
Yeah.
You were a better prospect by me, by far. Long Beach Poly, one of the top linebackers in the nation. There are guys who weren't in this situation who are consumed with the what-ifs.
Yeah.
Like, how are you dealing with that emotion?
Yeah, I mean, you could always sit and think about the what-ifs, what shoulda, what coulda. I like to think more about the now and where I am. You know, if it wasn't supposed to happen, it simply would not have happened, what I went through. But it did happen. So I think the question becomes more about, not more so of what happened, but what am I going to do about what happened? And so for me, the focus just has been, what can I do today to live the best life that I can live and not really focus on the things that I missed out on. Don't get me wrong, I do miss it. I still want to play, but, you know, it is what it is.
Brian, one of the things that shook me the most, and I just want clarity if this is accurate, because I think it's portrayed in the movie, the false accuser, she was a 16, 17-year-old girl like yourself, but she reached out to you after you, via Facebook, after you got out of jail. That was so shocking, the audacity of it. When you get an email from her over Facebook, what are you thinking? What are you feeling?
I didn't think it was her. I thought somebody made up this fake account, was trying to like play some kind of sick joke. I remember slamming the laptop down and just kind of having this out-of-body experience, not really sure what I just saw. And, you know, I had to really figure out if it was her or not. So I'd ask, would you mind calling me at this number? And sure enough, my phone rang. I answered the phone and it was her.
And then so when she confesses to you in person that she made this up, why did she have a guilty conscience? Why did she?
I still don't know. That's a question that I still do not have an answer to. Every time that I did ask or inquired about it, the finger was always pointed at somebody else, never taking the responsibility of the lie itself.
Now, walking into this movie theater, our viewers, myself, did they get it right? Did they portray Brian Banks accurately?
Yeah, it's an accurate portrayal of real life events, and it's in an unlinear form. So it's kind of, you know, it takes off where I'm on parole and I'm living as a registered sex offender and having all of these difficulties of life. And then it kind of goes back and forth from where I've been to show you how I got to where I was and now what I'm doing to get myself free. So a lot of the events that are shown in there are true and accurate, but also, you know, it's Hollywood, so they got to throw a little bit of the spice in there to kind of
Yeah.
you know, bring people in.
What are you doing today? I know you had a job with the NFL,
Yeah.
Roger Goodell and those guys. You walked away from that. How come? What are you doing today?
Yeah, I wouldn't like to say I walked away from it. I think that just some really amazing opportunities popped up after the commissioner gave me an opportunity to work for the NFL in New York. I then got an offer to go film a TV show that furthered the fight against wrongful conviction called Final Appeal. And then right after Final Appeal, I went right into filming this movie in 2017. And then ever since then, I've been focused on traveling, doing my speaking engagements, talking to different audiences and crowds, as well as promoting the film. I just wrote my book, What Set Me Free, that just came out. It's in stores everywhere. So just kind of allowing life to take its course, and wherever my lane takes me, I'm just going with it.
Allow me to be the sappy journalist right
to me.
now, man. I've heard this question a lot of times and out of context, and certainly not with people I truly cared about their answer. But you, Brian Banks, a letter to your younger self, the Brian Banks at Long Beach Poly before this moment.
What would I say? Stay in class. I would say stay in class, be patient, don't be in a rush to be an adult. You got a lot of amazing things right here in front of you. Focus on the now, and everything else is just mere distraction. Trust me, trust me, trust me. Stay in class.
That's a letter to yourself, and I would imagine that's the same message you're giving to young people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What happened to me is unacceptable. I should have not gone through what I went through. But was I in the wrong place at the wrong time? Yes. And I'm one of the ones to admit that right away. Doesn't mean that I deserve what had happened to me, but how we can eliminate things from happening, you know, if we give more thought to that, then a lot of stuff that we go through in life, we probably would never experience.
I just want to ask you this, since you've made a movie. There's a lot of rumors there'll be a movie about me one day.
Boy, stop.
I heard about, no, okay, go ahead.
Idris Elba, don't you think he should play me?
I think he's busy. How's his show just released?
Yeah, he got a full deck. He got a schedule.
He DJing everywhere. I don't know if he got time for the Whitlock.
Right, man. Thank you.
Man,
so much.
respect.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man.
You
Thank
are a
man.
blessing. You and your life are a blessing from God.
Thank you,
Appreciate
man.
you. Coming up, Odell Beckham Jr. has never been shy about responding to critics on social media. We'll tell you what we think of his latest clapback next.